Rúben Amorim has been sacked. Rúben Amorim has been sacked. And a lot of you are probably thinking, AJ, you're not smiling. Are you not happy that he's gone? And the honest answer is, I don't have an emotion towards it. Like, I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I'm not, like, I don't have any actual emotion towards it. I'm just confused. And you should be, if you're a Man United fan, you should be confused too. Because, let's be honest, where does this actually leave us? What does it actually mean? Is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing? None of us know, because Amorim wasn't our only problem. In terms of Rúben Amorim, was he a problem in some ways? Yes. Could he have been a solution going forward? I don't know. However, when we actually look at Man United's problem, it's way deeper than just the manager. There's the players, there's the owners, there's the money that gets put into the club. There's so many different things. It's what is the club's ambition going forward? Is there a clear plan in place? So in terms of Amorim, yes, some of you can be happy. Or I don't want to see Free at the back at United no more. Cool, innit? But the main problem was, do we even have the players to play the manager's system? But even if you change it from that system to a fallback, we didn't have the players to play a fallback before Amorim came in. That's why we wanted to see a change in formation or just a change in system. A lot of us were saying, oh, let's just see a system at least. We got that and it didn't work. So eventually, if you've had all these different types of managers, from Van Gaal to Mourinho to Oli to Ten Hag to Amorim, eventually you have to look at the players and say, cool, maybe the players are just not good enough. And I think a lot of people get confused with a squad and a starting 11. Yes, you can have a good starting 11. If you put Man United's best starting 11 on paper and that specific starting 11 played at their best and played the whole season, nothing outside of it, that team will do decent in the league. 100%. Because the best players in the team are decent. But the problem is, there's a lot of things in football that people don't consider for. There's injuries. There's fatigue, there's congested fixture list. And I know United are only playing in the league, but especially in the January period, bro, there's back-to-back games, bro. You have to rotate your side. You're going to get injuries. Players are going to be not available. And as we've seen with United, Mount's out, De Ligt's out, Mbeumo's out, Cunha's out, Mainu's out, Maguire, and I don't even rate him like that. These are all players that are not available to the manager. Bruno, our best player, our captain, he's not even available. When has he ever not been available? Do you get what I'm saying? So these things need to be accounted for. And when you don't have these players, you then have to rely on squad depth. Arsenal, they have the best squad depth in the league. They're top of the league. And they've had one of the most injuries. What do you think that is? It's obvious. Saliba gets injured. Mascara got injured. Gabriel got injured. They still had a back four of defenders that, if you was to look at them individually, you think they wouldn't start for United. Nkampi can start for United. Ben White, Timber, they can all start for United. So, what does that tell you? Anyways, moving on from that. Yeah. My biggest problem with this sacking is, if you look at the league table, Man United are currently sitting in 6th position. We're 3 points off top 4. The reason why this sacking doesn't really make sense to me and why I find it hard to get my head around, yes, I've seen the comments that Amorim made yesterday in the news. However, when you're sitting in 6th position, you're 4th in the league. If you told a Man United fan at the end of last season, or even at the beginning of this season, by January, Man United will be in a top 4 race, 3 points off top 4, sitting in 6th, level on points with 5th. Would you take it? I promise you, most Man United fans with common sense would have said, yeah, I'll take that. That's where we currently find ourselves. Even to the point where we're even looking at our team and we're saying, oh, we could have picked up more points here, we could have picked up more points there. We're blaming the manager at times. And naturally, with a young manager, yeah, they're going to make mistakes. The whole point is, can you learn from them? Are you building towards something? Now, this is the thing. And I'll touch on whether I think Amorim was progressing with the team. But this is the thing, yeah. Cool. You're sitting in 6th. You know that you've got players away. And you know that Cool, you dropped points to Leeds, you dropped points to Wolves recently. You nicked 3 points against Newcastle at home. You know the reason for these results though. Against Newcastle, 45 minutes with a better team. Or at least it was an even game. We played some good football in that game. Mount gets injured. And I'll be honest, but football can change like that. The team was already holding on by a thread. But then you had Cunha, Mount, makeshift Dorgu right wing, and it was still working. If you take Mount out of that, come on, man. What do you expect? It's too much. And that's what I was saying to United fans. Everything we do from the moment Mount got injured, even the moment Bruno got injured, but we just got lucky that Mount was in form. From the moment Mount got injured, everything we do, we're going to be hanging by a thread. It's going to be either luck or we just need to get it done and move on. And in my opinion, making sure that we didn't lose in any of the games was a bigger priority than anything. Obviously, 3 points is the most important, but you need to make sure that you don't lose. Newcastle, we didn't lose. Wolves, I understand, but we didn't lose. Leeds, we didn't lose. Leeds away, by the way. And that's a place where people have been dropping points. So it's like, I hear what you're saying. I hear what people say, but I think people need to be a bit more realistic. The logo doesn't play the games. The players do, and the manager can manage. Now, in terms of, let's even start from last season. So Amorim came into the job. His win percentage was terrible. He only won against promoted sides. It was poor. Lost in the Europa League final. When you break it down like that, does he deserve to be sacked? Yes. But then when you then fast forward, and we're going to get to the middle part, don't worry. But when you fast forward all the way to current day, they're sixth and we're in a transfer window. For me, any logical ownership would say, cool, we're backing this manager. He's got 18 months left in his contract. He wants to implement his style. What can we do to get the best out of him and the current players we have and build this squad so that he can use it to compete? Right now, we're in a position where you probably would not have thought we'd be in. The fact that Manchester United are in a position where they can get top 4 and just kind of run away with it. Keeping in mind, Maresca just got sacked. Chelsea probably are going to be a bit turbulent. Liverpool are still in this turbulent position. They've just lost Isak as well. We don't even know if they're going to get any recruitments this January transfer window. Go and capitalise. This is a market opportunity. You go and get players through the door and try and cement that top 4 position, because all this talk about, oh, we don't have money here, we can't invest in that, we want to do this rebuild, but it's going to take time. Do you not think getting back in the Champions League, knowing that you have the rest of the season to play once a year, is going to make life easier? Because really and truly, if United get top 5, top 6, they're back in Europa League, they're playing more. We're trying to get back into the Champions League. It's more money. Take the opportunity sometimes you just have to grab the opportunity. If United were to finish top 4 this season, that'd be a great achievement. So why are you sacking the manager? We just paid him 17 million to walk through the door. I'm seeing people saying, oh, why is Amorim walking out with a smile on his face? Of course he's walking out with a smile on his face. 17 mil. He just hit a lick. Look how his wife is smiling. He's going to chop her when he gets home. What the hell? That's a money smile. What the hell's going on here? Of course he's smiling. All that stress that he's been going through. I'm hearing that the ownership is... Bro, deep it. Let's even look at his comments. Amorim said, I am not the head coach, I am the manager. Amorim said, I did not come to be a coach, I am the manager. Of course that's him hitting back. That's him telling whoever it is, listen, you're not going to tell me that I'm not the manager. I came here to be the manager. You're not going to tell me how to do my job. Obviously, he's going to say that. By the time you debunk all of that, by the time you think about all the stress he's probably going through with the fact that this is a blemish on his record, okay, leave this situation. We know it looks dark. Here's 17 million, goodbye. What? Who wouldn't take that? 17 million to cut out that shit show? I'll take it. Sorry. Bro. Do you get what I'm saying? And the fact that they thought that it would make more sense to sack him for 17 million than to invest in the squad is insane to me. That's 17 million that could go towards a new player, a new midfielder. Keeping in mind, we have 2 fit midfielders right now. 2! Out of the whole squad, there's 2 fit midfielders. That is disgraceful. and you don't think it makes sense. Keeping in mind, before Amorim got sacked, he's telling us, there's going to be no outgoings and ingoings. Of course, he's pissed off. That's ridiculous. Again, I was never Amorim in. Well, I was at one point, but I'm not up till now. Before I heard he got sacked, I wasn't Amorim in, but I also wasn't Amorim out. But sometimes we need to use logic. Even leading up to it, can I turn around and say that there's been no improvement from last season? We finished 15th. There was always going to be improvement. It was about the scale of improvement. Right now, we're 6th. Now, if we actually look at the team and you think to yourself, how have we improved? At this stage last season, with 20 games, Man United had 20 points. This season, we have 31 points. That's 11 points improvement between this stage last season and now. On top of that, we have scored 34 goals in the league. I know we've conceded quite a few, but we scored 34 goals in the league. Last season, one of our biggest problems was that we were not scoring goals. This season, we've been scoring goals. Now, if you look at the rest of the people in the league, Arsenal scored 40. Manchester City have scored 44. Aston Villa 33, Liverpool 32, Chelsea 33, Brentford 32. Those are the top goal scorers in the league. Do you know who's third top goal scorer? Man United with 34. Outside of Arsenal and Man City, who we know are steps above the rest. I know Aston Villa are there and thereabouts, but we know we know that Arsenal and Man City are the top 2. Man United have scored the second amount of goals. Third amount of goals. And last week, we were second. We'd scored more goals than Arsenal. What does that tell you? Before our players got injured, we were scoring goals. Players were out. The goals dried up, but we're still scoring in these games. What does that tell you? There has been some sort of improvement in terms of goal scoring, being able to create chances. I'm seeing people say they don't see the style of play that the manager's trying to implement. Okay, let's really break this down. When I come on social media, when we look at the games, when we reflect back on it, what do people always say? Why are we missing so many chances? We need to be more clinical. Why are we berating Sesko? Because Sesko's missing so many chances. I've seen Dalot, we've seen Dorgu. I've seen people say, what kind of system has Dorgu and Dalot at the end of your chance creation? The fact that we're upset that our striker is missing chances, that our wing-backs are missing chances, what does that tell you? The fact that we're getting onto Mbeumo for missing chances, we're getting onto Cunha for missing chances, what does that tell you? Some of the chances these lot miss are sitters. What does that tell you? Is that the manager? No. The managers... Let me tell you something, yeah? All the manager can do is this. A manager can get players into a system. He can make them organised. He can make them a unit. He can implement his formation onto the team. The next part is the manager can get players in through the door, through player ID. You need to do talent ID. You need to get players that you think can implement your system and can carry out instructions on the pitch and can also show quality. What did the manager do? He brought in Cunha, who has shown quality on the pitch, is able to implement stuff. Mbeumo, also able to do that. He brought in Sesko. Now, Sesko, in terms of what he can offer outside of scoring goals, you can see the difference between him and Højlund. The problem is Sesko's not scoring goals. Is that on the manager? I wouldn't say the striker not scoring goals is on the manager, unless the striker's not getting into goal scoring opportunities, because at the end of the day, Sesko's a young striker, he just got brought in. Yes, in terms of could you find a better player, you can blame that on the manager, because really and truly, there were so many options in terms of the strikers market this year. Every team, based other than Man City, got a new striker, basically. So yeah, you can kind of put that on Amorim in a way. But at the end of the day, I've seen Sesko miss open goals. I've seen Dalot miss open goals. I've seen Dorgu miss sitters. I've seen Cunha miss sitters. When I say open goals, I mean sitters, do you know what I'm saying? So if the manager has a system that's producing this much, eventually you have to say to yourself, cool, that is a style of play that we're seeing. There's a constant chance creation that's happening for Man United. We can't deny it. Yes, there will be games where it's not as fluid as others, and we've seen that. And that's where it comes down to, cool, when you lot aren't hot, what can you give us? We know there's problems. Don't get twisted. We know there's problems. But to say that you've seen nothing, I think is a bold-faced lie. Now, for the people that want Amorim out, is there reasons why Amorim should be out? Of course there is. All the nonsense he done last season, losing the Europa League final, that alone is sackable. Finishing 15th with United, no matter what, is sackable. Of course it is. This season, there's games we've dropped. There's like Everton, like West Ham. And there's a pattern of results where he was bringing on Ugarte and we kept dropping points and it was substitutions. We're losing because of substitutions. That is on the manager. Of course it is. When you really put everything down to it, if you're one of those people, probably like the owners that said, cool, last season we're going to brush everything that happened and this is a clean slate. You're basically starting from now. We forced you into the job early. Cool. Do what you can. If I'm Amorim, I'm saying, cool. Give me my squad overhaul, give me my players and watch me work. They probably said to him, cool, for now, we can get you a new goalkeeper, a new striker, some new attackers, and then we'll get you some new midfielders later. He probably said, fine. They got him that at least. But they didn't even get it to him before the season started. They got Cunha and Mbeumo, but remember how long it took them to pattern the Mbeumo one. The Cunha one was done quick because it was a release clause. Lamans was given to him, 4 games in after we had already dropped points because of our keeper. Who else is there? And Sesko. That wasn't done straight away either. Remember, we didn't start the season with Sesko up front. Do you know what I'm saying? So these are things that, if you ask me, it's not acceptable. Like any serious club will get their business done early. Let the manager have time with them during pre-season. Amorim basically spent most of pre-season with the squad of last year. And even the players that we did let go, if we're being honest, players like Rashford, Garnacho, they weren't the worst players in the squad. They were probably the better players in the squad. So when you've let some of your best players go, despite whether you think they were good or not, this Man United squad is not good. So we're not talking about whether we think Rashford, Garnacho, all of that are good players. Even Sancho, we're not talking about whether you think they're good players. We're saying, if you put them in United's squad before we made signings, will they still be the best of the crop? Yes, they would. So when you get rid of those players and you start pre-season with the squad you have with the Hoylunds and all of this and that, it's basically the same thing. So even during pre-season, he's not working with a brand new squad. He's not working with new players. He's working with the old rubbish. Players like Shaw, Maguire, they've been there for years. How can you change that? Teams like Man City, bro, Man City, they've been way more successful than United. At the start of the success, if you go and look back at the team that they had, there's hardly anybody there, if anyone. I think they said like John Stones was the last person or something. What does that tell you? But somehow United still have the same Maguire, the same Luke Shaw. What? And on top of that, bad business, and we keep those bad players. Someone like that that's been there for time. Whoever brought in Ugarte is just taking the piss. Do you know what I'm saying? And it looks like, cool, they're starting to get a bit of a trend in terms of getting signings right with De Ligt, with Mazraoui, Euros Young, with Cunha, with Mbeumo, even with Sesko. Like, these are players that definitely up the quality of the team. But it's about building a squad. You need to have a squad of players, someone to bring off the bench that will mean that the quality doesn't drop too far, or someone that can bring an impact. Too many times I look at Man United's bench and I'm thinking, we can't even make subs, because if we make subs, our team's going to get considerably worse. But players are getting tired on the pitch, so you kind of do need to make subs. It's a lose-lose situation. And if you really wanted to ask me, I think the timing is poor. If they wanted to sack Amorim, in my opinion, you might as well wait till summer, or you should have done it last summer. Like, what's the point of doing it in January? It doesn't make sense to me. I understand that as an ownership, you have to put your foot down and you have to show that you're the ones in charge, but it doesn't make sense for you to sack a manager in January based off the league position. If we were far away from top 4 and we kind of had nothing to fight for and we're just in a melee of like, I don't know, we're like 8th or 9th place, not close to challenging for anything really, then I would say, cool, sacking him doesn't really mean anything. We can go again next year. But the fact that we are actually so close to top 4, and that's something that we probably didn't think was going to happen this season, you can't sack him now. And the maddest part is, imagine they put Darren Fletcher in charge. Imagine Darren Fletcher, I don't know, somehow manages to get the best out of these players, and we get top 4. Then they'll be like, oh, Ineos done the mad thing. But my thing is, the only thing that I think Ineos have in their favour is that they're saying that they're going to wait till the summer to recruit a manager. That means they've given themselves February, March, April, May, June. They've given themselves at least 5 months. Cool. let's sit down and actually analyze what we really, really need. Targets, a manager who we can bring through the door, even contacting the manager they want, locking it in from now. You don't have to announce it and say, cool, if you were to come in, who do you want to get rid of? Who do you want to bring in through the door? And you start making a hit list of players gone, players in, and you implement it as soon as the season is done, straight away. Because other than that, because if not, all of this is for no reason. And my thing is, just because you exit a plan doesn't mean that the future is bright. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, leaving something without having an exit plan makes no sense. If you have a marriage and you want a divorce, but you have no exit plan for the divorce, and you're dependent on whoever you're with, that is not a good idea. You need to wait. You have kids in the castle. How are you going to take care of them? Do you get what I'm saying? And for me, the biggest concern is, where does this sacking leave United? Because at the end of the day, a manager is just somebody that's playing real life football manager for the club's owners. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I feel like people tend to forget that you support the club and somebody actually owns it. And when I say somebody actually owns it, like the way I'm in my house right now is owned. You live in somebody else's reality. Whatever they want to do with the club is up to them. They own the club. It is their club. The same way if you buy a car, it is your car. So some people can get in it and be the passenger and enjoy the ride, but they can't tell you what to do with your car. They can't tell you what customizations to get. They can't tell you how much petrol to put in your car. They can't tell you when to go to the car wash. They can speak about it. You can go outside and your mum and your girlfriend can tell you, oh, your car's dirty. Go wash it. But if you don't want to wash it, you don't have to wash it. And it's the same with clubs. It's the same with football clubs. If the owner don't want to do something, there's nothing you can do. You can make as much noise about it as you want, but really and truly, most of the time, it's falling on deaf ears. Especially if it's not a fan-owned club. Most of the time, it's falling on deaf ears, because at the end of the day, it is mine. I will do what I want. It brings me money. You're just supporting it. Do you know what I'm saying? If anything, you supporting it brings me more money anyway. So that's the only reason why they might small hear you, because they don't want to lose money. But what you won't do, another person will. So it's an endless cycle, and that's what I think football fans need to kind of understand. It's not about the manager. Of course, you can get a better manager in. Of course, you can have better results on the pitch depending on the level of manager. But at the end of the day, every manager needs to be backed. We saw Pep last season. As good as Pep is, City needed a revamp. He needed signings. What did City do? Even in January, they went to go get him Nico Gonzalez. That's another midfielder. Even in the summer, they went to go get Cherky. They got Ainuri, Reinders, all these players. Do you get what I'm saying? Even this January, they're going to go get Semenyo. This is a top manager still being backed. Whereas Amorim, who's not a top manager, an up-and-coming manager, and you think that he can do what managers better than him can't do without backing. How? So my main thing is this, and my conclusion is this, yeah. As much as the formation, yes, the formation this, and do I think that there's some games where the formation could have been changed and adapted that could have got us a better result? 100%. I think that's for every formation. I think that's for every tactic. I think that's for every manager. I think that's for every system. It's not every game that your specific system and solutions and formations are going to work, because there's going to be teams that will figure you out. There's games where I've seen United start very fast, play amazing football or good football, and after 20 to 25 minutes, or even 15 to 20 minutes, the other team start getting into the game because the manager makes a slight tweak. Because obviously, the manager of the opposition is not just gonna watch you and be like, "Oh yeah, you're killing us, so we're just gonna let you kill us the whole game." No, Premier League managers are decent. They're smart. Even the players on the field, after a while, you're gonna figure out, okay, cool, this is how they're killing us. This is how we stop it. And the whole league, at some stage, has clocked onto that at times. There's nothing. But the only difference is sometimes it's too late for you to clock onto it. But a lot of the time, when we see Man United's games, it's 45-minute performances, 30-minute performances, and if the game's done by then, then cool. If the game's not done by then, it becomes a game. Do you know what I'm saying? And there's reasons for that. Even Brighton blew them away. All of a sudden, they're back in the game. Why? Because teams clock onto these things. This is a new era. Managers are smart. They're adept. No matter how good you think they are, they will clock onto little tweaks that they need to do. especially when the evidence is out there, when other teams have done it against you. And that was my main problem with Amorim. I feel a top manager needs to be able to adapt in-game regardless of whether he has a philosophy or not. And Amorim just wasn't able to do that. And that is a reason why, and that is enough reason for me for him to be gone. However, the fact that he wasn't sacked because of any of that tells me that we have a problem, because a new manager can come in and speak out and get sacked. Everyone's just getting sacked for talking the truth. It doesn't make sense. You have to, for me, as an owner, as a businessman, you need to be able to take the hard truths. If you don't want it to be done in private, sort it out in public. If you don't want it to be done in public, you need to sort it out in private. Because at the end of the day, a manager will only come out and say something like that if they're not being backed by the club. If everything was going smooth, if everything was being done properly, then, do you get what I'm saying? Because a club like Man United cannot tell me that they cannot invest in their squad. I'm not hearing that. They cannot tell me that. They cannot tell me that they can only get 4 players in one season, knowing that a serious rebuild needs to take place when your club just finished 15th. Like, I don't think you man understand how disgraceful that is on a Man United scale. To finish anywhere below 8th is unheard of. Even anywhere below 4th is unheard of. The fact that we've even succumbed to finish 15th is insane. And the club doesn't think they need to do a bit more. Yes, you can blame Amorim's system all you want. You can have people rejoicing. The question is, do you think it then gets better? Who the hell is Darren Fletcher in terms of management? Good player. This is management. What is Darren Fletcher going to do in the next couple games that's going to change what you've seen in the last couple results that Man United fans are saying, oh, it was a sackable offence? Brother, what? You think if you give Darren Fletcher, Xerxes, Ugarte, Casemiro, Dorgu, Sesko Cunha, what's it called? Martinez, Heaven, Lamens, all of that we've been playing with the last couple of games, you think Darren Fletcher's going to go and show you amazing football and get results? Come on, man. Cool. It's probably going to be a thing where Mount comes back, Bruno comes back, and maybe the club knew that some players are coming back. Obviously, Aman comes back and Bomo comes back. By the time at least 4 of those players come back, you'll see Man United win games, regardless of whether Amorim's there or not, because those players are good enough to win you games. And that's my whole point. So sacking him based off recent performances, if you thought that makes sense, it actually does not. It actually doesn't. And I don't even think they did that. But, bro, this new manager that we're bringing in is probably the worst time to hire him, because he's going to have to jug with either he plays these first team players who are the bottom of the barrel first team players, or he just plays academy players. And those academy players, if I'm being honest, I've watched some of them. The Fletchers, maybe he's going to give you some more minutes, I don't know. The Manato, the only person I haven't seen is Shea Lacey. But even Fredrickson, like, these players are not up to the level. Yes, they're young. Am I going to throw academy players into the mix and say, oh, we're going to lose games because of them? No. But we need to call a spade a spade. Your potential doesn't play games. If you're not ready yet, you're not ready yet. And when I say you're not ready yet, I don't mean, oh, you're being put in for like a 10, 20-minute cameo, or you need to do a job for one game. I'm saying you want to play a group of them and put them into the firing line along with experienced players that aren't good enough either. They're not ready yet. They're probably not even, some of them are not even ready to even just be like, see Fredrickson, he's not even ready to just be put in a whole starting 11 where everyone's good and he's not that, and he's just there as the academy player. He's not even good for that. So you now want to put him in when the times are tough. No, bro. Sometimes just because you put an academy player and say just swim, that doesn't mean they're going to get better. Just because you're playing first team games doesn't mean you're just automatically going to get better. Sometimes it can kill you off. And that's what you lot need to understand. Everyone's saying, oh, Mainu will finally play. Bro, Mainu is injured. And, bro, I want you lot to understand, yeah. One thing Amorim said before he left was, oh, United fans have commented. United and the players, there's a sense of entitlement around the place. And yes, it's 100% true. The fact that academy players like Harry Amas, who's on loan, Mainu, think they have the entitlement to be playing week in, week out for Manchester United shows how low we've come. Academy players are supposed to bide their time. They're supposed to be bled into the squad. Mainu was getting played and he was picking up injuries, and you can see how it's affected his performances. Now people are saying, oh, Mainu must start, Mainu must start. Mainu must do what? Mainu must be part of the furniture, make sure that he's being developed properly, and then you put him in. You put him in there. Yes, I do think there's times where Mainu could have come onto the pitch and Amorim didn't, yes. But the fact that people are making so much noise about an 18-year-old playing football is so bizarre to me, because there's other teams that have had academy products that are better than Mainu that did not have this much shouting about. Teams like Foden. Foden was bled into City's team. Yes, City's team were better than United's. I do understand that. But you see his career progression by, not minutes here, but minutes there. Not minutes here, but minutes there. And you build them up and you get them ready. That's how you progress a player properly. Even Curtis Jones, if we're talking about career-wise and what he's shown, is twice what Mainu's done, 3 times as much. And there's still periods of time where Curtis Jones is not playing. Do you hear outrage about it? No, and he has way more of a case to play than Mainu, in a better team, by the way. So, as much as I do rate Mainu, I do think that some of you need to be a bit more realistic in the way you view things, especially when we're talking about a club at the size of Man United. Despite whether you think they are good enough to start or not, it is still a process. And yeah, I just think that in terms of everything that's going on, I want to see how Man United go on from here, because I'm really confused as to what the solution is, what the next steps is, whether they're now going to do some business in January or not, because I don't know. We could see Shea Lacey start right wing in the next game. And I've never watched him play, and I'm not going to judge an academy player before seeing him play. He could be good enough to start now, but at the end of the day, bro, you don't want to get top 4. If you think players like Shea Lacey, Minato playing is going to get us top 4, then I don't know. We need players. And that is whether Amorim was staying or whether Amorim is out. The fact of the matter is, Manchester United need players. We need more quality in our squad. Whether you want to compete or not, we need more quality. It's as simple as that. And if you didn't know before, at least you know now. AJ knows ball. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.